Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Esch, and this is the Case for Construction Culture podcast. And I'm super excited to be with Perry Silvey, a guy that I've known, I think we said 12, 13 years, Perry.
I think that's about right.
You got into safety back in 2012 when I launched my business, and I remember fondly meeting with you and seeing how energetic you were and how committed you were. I could see your heart and your passion for safety from the get-go and your own integrity. So it's an honor, Perry. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Tom. Glad to be here.
And I know you're still in Denver, right? And you are safety manager for BT Construction, correct?
Yes.
You've been there, what, five years? You just told me. I think it's been five now.
Yep.
Can't believe it.
Yep. A little over 5 years. Yep.
Yep. And I just really admire you, Perry. And tell me what you're excited about here. We're still pretty early in 2025 as you look out. And I for sure want to talk about your initiative that you created, Think Inside the Box. We'll get to that, but tell me what are you excited about? Maybe it's that. I don't know what else you're excited. I know been involved with NUCA. You're a very committed leader there out there in Colorado and around the country. But what are you excited about right now?
Well, it's exciting. We're getting into the construction season coming soon here. It's still early in the year, but we're definitely excited to come into the new construction season. And there's a lot of opportunity out there, a lot of utilities to put in the ground. So we're excited to be able to install those for our clients. There's a lot of work that we do that's a little different than maybe the normal company. We tend to do some of the more dangerous work, or at least it appears to be more dangerous, but we've got some fantastic teams that can install this stuff really safely. So we've got a fantastic team. It's great to be able to be a part of this group and just proud to be with BT Construction.
Yeah, and you were just telling me, and I've seen this in the last few years. You have an exceptional culture there for safety. I'm sure it's not a perfect culture, and I'm sure it's not quite what you want, right? You've always told me how pleased you are and how what an exceptional culture. What makes it exceptional? What makes BT Construction sort of one of the favorite places you've worked?
Well, it really comes down to the people, really all the people at the organization. Like we're a great group of people. But really, when you think about it, it's the top leaders of the organization. These guys truly, genuinely care for
Hmm.
everybody at this organization. And that's
Hmm.
something I've never really experienced before, not to this level. And it's great to be a part of an organization that has that genuine care, that actually sees each person and sees them as part of a family, as part of community, just a great organization.
And you were telling me, and it's so simple, isn't it, Perry? It's like, but it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And it hasn't been the construction culture. If you go back 10, 20, 30 years, it was not the norm to have a lot of concern about care and family. I mean, there've always been good companies. We know that, but you're in a kind of uh, a rarefied air culture, I think. But you were telling me there's the interactions you have with top leadership. Explain just a little about that if you can.
Yeah, so one of the things that's great about our organization is how we have regular meetings with our top leaders. And it's really the group that really wants to understand what's going on. They want to hear from us on what we're seeing, what we're hearing. They're asking about our people. They want to know how everything's going, and they're just really engaged in our work, and it's the work in the field. They want to know. They want to understand. They want to hear really the truth of what's happening out in the field, and that
Mhm.
kind of care, that kind of genuine care and they really want to understand that. So it's cool to be able to meet with them every week and be able to have that kind of deep conversation with them. It's fantastic.
Every week. And if you can say, how large is the organization now, roughly?
So we're about 200 people as a
Yeah,
company.
that's a big commitment. When the top leaders are meeting with the safety manager once a week, that's exceptional, Barry. I've been in this business 23 years. That's not the norm for a company of that size. So kudos to them and to you to be landing in a spot like that. I know it's not all peaches and roses. What are some of your challenges that you're looking at this year? What are things that got you a little concerned or focusing your energy?
You know, some of the biggest concerns or challenges that we see are really the generational challenges. When you look at the organization from top to bottom, you start to see some of the newer, I call them kids coming into the business, and then the seasoned employees,
Hmm.
right? The guys that have been here a real long time. I mean, there's people
Hmm.
that have been at this company, just this company, 20, 30, 40 plus years. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that says something about the business and on how people
Sure.
want to stay here. So it's great.
Sure.
It's just how do we get those guys to communicate to those younger ones, to those newer ones, to the business, newer ones to our organization, and really help them understand what it means to do things the right way, to do things the BT way is what we call it. It's a challenge, but I think we're up for the challenge. I think we've got some really um, good things coming, and then we've got some good plans that our team is working on to really work towards the next generation.
Can you name one or two? Are you anything outside the box on that, or what are you doing then? That's perennial, Perry. I hear everyone I work with has this very challenge. A lot of baby boomer age people retiring or maybe close to it, and then going to get guys from wherever you can get them. Burger King, Subway, DoorDash, and there they are, right? Uh,
We actually saw a resume come across from somebody who worked at Subway, and his title was sandwich artist. And so to try to figure out how can we help this sandwich artist understand how to work in
that
construction,
is so funny. Sandwich
that's a
artist.
challenge.
And then you're handing them a 25-pound demo saw that goes 5,400 RPMs with a diamond blade saying, go cut that concrete pipe, buddy. It's just like
Yeah.
cutting a Subway sandwich, right?
Yeah, it's like same thing.
Same thing.
So, yeah, so that's a little bit of a challenge to help those guys really understand the dangers, the risk that we have in this business.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we're really trying to do is grow from within and really try to figure out how we could raise these guys to become the next leaders of this company. And not necessarily those sandwich artists. I mean, maybe someday they
Mhm.
can be,
Mhm.
but we're looking more guys that have been here a little longer that we see and we've identified as a leader, and we are able to work with them to get to the next level. So it's all part of that development from within.
Mhm.
So our top leaders are doing a great job really
Mhm.
getting with these guys on a regular basis and starting to really get them
Mhm.
up to speed with what it
Mhm.
means to do the right thing and really be a good leader for this
Mhm.
organization.
Thought you might use the word mentoring. Do you guys use that language? Are you doing that intentionally?
We do. We do. We have a full mentorship program, and
Yeah.
it really starts with the guys there in the field. If they want to become that next thing on the list, if they want to get to that next level of the organization, then we'll add them to the mentorship program and start developing them and helping them understand what it means to be a leader.
Nice. What are some of the challenges you have with your Think Inside the Box organization? I think you said you now have over 18,000 followers on LinkedIn, an initiative you helped create some many years ago. Uh,
Yeah.
what's happening with that, or what are the challenges you see with that connection of safety people around the country?
So it's been a slow growth when you really think over 5 years. When we first started this volunteer group,
Hmm.
really this group started in Denver, started locally, and it started working our way through the national level once we got onto social media, and then
Hmm.
now international level, we started to see some participation, from across the other side of the earth, which is it's neat to see. But
Cool.
yeah, as far as a challenge, some of the things we're seeing is just communication and trying to keep up with the grassroots effort.
Hmm.
So we've got some subject matter experts that are helping us, and
Hmm.
there's been some unfortunate events that have still occurred. So we try to continue to share that information on the social media pages. So if you
Hmm.
search for at Excavate Safe, You'll come
Mhm.
across any of our pages on there. And then our website, thinkinsidethebox.info, has a
Mhm.
lot of resources, a lot of information on there. So those particular sites have helped us to gain some additional followers and help us to grow our messaging. It's again just a slow process to really get this message to more and more people, and really to the people that need to hear it most, the people that
Mhm.
are actually entering into the trenches. We want them to
Mhm.
remember and think inside the box.
Well, 18,000 is respectable, Perry. I mean, that's 5 years. That's 4,000 a year. I mean, maybe you didn't go viral, but I think you're doing pretty well if you have that many people keeping in touch. Have you tried any AI generated things or any chat GPT or that world? Has that been a useful tool in any of that or not?
Haven't really done too much of that. I think there's been a little bit of content that we've been able to tweak a little bit with a little chat GPT to make sure that,
Hmm.
hey, are we saying this in the way we want to say it, and just do some review of the
Hmm.
content. But generally speaking, we're copying a lot of what's online through a news source, and then we actually will cite the news source. So it's a lot of just information that's already online that
Sure,
we're just sharing to our platforms.
sure. Well, I have some ideas later on. I may share them for somebody I know who's brilliant with the AI stuff. I just think when it's online like that and you're all volunteers, if you could automate something that still was authentic and legitimate, that might support what you're doing. Are you interested in that later on, maybe, Perry?
Yes.
All right,
Anything that we can do
I,
to
I got
to
an idea.
get this to more people, we're all ears.
I got an idea.
That'd
And
be
then
great.
and then this word culture is thrown around. We're not using it right now, but it's typically it is what you're talking about. You're talking about the culture of BT construction and the culture of your think inside the box world. How do you define culture in the context of safety, Perry, here in 2025? What do you think about when somebody says culture? What's that, Perry? What do you mean culture?
Well, I think it's that commitment. It's that as a team, as an organization, there's a shared commitment. And share, that's such an important word that everybody's got to be on the same page. If there's any outliers or if there's anybody who doesn't quite meet the commitment, who doesn't really stand
Hmm.
behind that
Hmm.
safety commitment, then that's not a shared value or a shared belief in
Hmm.
taking care of each other. And so really as an organization here, we have that genuine care for each other. And that's one of the things we talk about a lot. And it's not just from the top management, it's everybody in the company that might walk up to something that looks dangerous. Maybe there's a cord on the ground that somebody could possibly trip on. And what we expect is we expect that person who sees that to pick it up, take care of it, not only for their own safety, but for the safety of other people in their
Hmm.
group. So it's that genuine care for others. And we really want to see that everybody shows that genuine care for each other. And that's that shared commitment, that shared safety commitment for each other, for the people that are in the business.
Yeah. Right on, and it's that simple. And can I play devil's advocate for a minute here? Because safety is about care and concern and being conscientious, but it's also about a lot more than that, and it's not easy. And you know it as well as anyone because you've been at it a long time. But what's the training, Perry, that you've had besides just a good heart and a caring person? And what sort of training do you or others in your organization, the top leaders, have in influencing safety outcomes? Because to me, and that's a question I heard David Watts ask to me, and he asks it all the time of people in his safety world out on the East Coast. What kind of training have you had, or do your leaders have in influencing outcomes?
That's such a tough question, Tom. I mean, when you think about safety outcomes, we want the outcome to be positive. We want to see everybody go home safe every day. So that's the outcome we're looking for.
Hmm.
So to have a training that really reflects that, that's a challenge. And I think it comes with really learning from others and learning from like our organization. We learn from each other and we see how each other reacts to certain situations and how do we move forward from a certain scenario and how do we get better from it. So I think it's a lot of you almost have to learn the hard way in some instances to be able to know how you can move forward. So as far as training, that's a tough question. I think we all have compliance training and we all have other types of training that we might do, leadership training. I think all those
Hmm.
help in influencing our safety outcomes.
Hmm.
But is it the end all? I think no. I think you've got to have more time at your business. You got to have more interaction with your people and really helping to understand and learn from your people. So it takes that effort and time to really build a better outcome.
Hmm. Yeah, I heard you say leadership development. I sort of see it as the technical and the people, right? You got the technical,
Mhm.
the tools, and the diamond blades, and the backhoes, and then you got the organizational, interpersonal people, and you guys have the care stuff in spades. And I'm guessing you also got the technical stuff in spades. You have to. Your work is so dangerous. Everybody has to be well trained. I did your demo saw safety there years ago. And you've got to make sure a guy running a demo saw knows what he's doing. You can't get up have guys cutting pipe who only know how to cut Subway sandwiches. That is not going to go well. But I think it's a question worth thinking about. What training do people? I mean, I think you have your leaders there. I don't know all their training. I know some of your training, but I think it's a lot. It's a lot of the solution to really care and to spend time and be technical. But I think there's even more to it, and I think it's worth thinking about. Anyway, I also wanted to ask you about the tension between safety and profitability, because a lot of guys are like, it takes too long, Perry. I can't. The goggles fog up. I can't even see. I can't be taken all day long for all this safety stuff, right? And sometimes the owners say safety first, but they act as if profitability's first. And some of the guys in the safety world might even say, and I don't know what you'd say, if we're not profitable, we're out of business. So yeah, profitability is in some ways first, but safety better be right there. But how do you balance those two? How does your organization see those two, or how do you see that, Perry?
So that's always been a challenge. And I think in our business and in the realm of safety, you've always got those tensions. You've always got those two things button up against each other. And I think the one thing that's helped with this is the leadership that's behind safety. So you've
Mm-hmm.
got to have the top leaders that truly genuinely care for our people to where they will actually tell them, hey, if you come across some situation that you're having to make that decision of whether to cut a corner because of a time related situation, or you're going to go around and do it the right way because it's a safer thing to do. They constantly talk about take the time that you need to do it
Mm-hmm.
right. And that's really a big thing about our organization is really do it right. Right. And it's not just about safety, even it's about quality. We want to have a
Mm-hmm.
good quality product for our
Mm-hmm.
customer. So you've
Mm-hmm.
got to have good quality, and with good quality comes good safety.
Mm-hmm.
And with good safety comes good morality. You've got
Mm-hmm.
the morale of that company is so important because if your morale starts to go down, everything else starts to go down. So
Mm-hmm.
it all starts to just work together. So it's got to be that commitment from the top that
Mm-hmm.
really tells everybody, including that new sandwich artist that just came on board. You have to
Mm-hmm.
tell that guy, hey, you need to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means, whatever that takes, do it right. So we talk about examples of that, right? If we were walking up to our excavator, should we walk right up to it, or should we take the long way around until we can see the operator? So certain scenarios that we've got this, hey, we need to do it right. We need to take the right amount of time to get it done right and not cut corners. That's
Mm-hmm.
so important in our business. So you gave the example of fogged up glasses, right? We had that challenge during the pandemic where we had to wear face coverings and goggles and glasses, and it
Oh
was
man.
so challenging
Oh man.
that We actually had a scenario where somebody had their mask on and they brought their glasses up and actually had a situation where they had to deal with an eye injury. And so had we had the glasses on the whole time, probably wouldn't have happened.
Hmm.
So little scenarios like that we have to kind of work through, and every day is different and everybody is different.
Hmm.
Everybody's going to take this information a little bit differently. So we have to have a lot of
Hmm.
repetition and we have to really communicate as much as we can so they understand the right things to do.
Hmm. Did I hear you correctly? You said morality, and you were talking about morale.
I meant to say morale. That was a word.
But you got me thinking because the morale of the guys is related to the morality of the company.
Yeah.
And I never thought about this. Now I got to go look up the Latin root of that word, Perry, and find out if there's a connection.
I think I might have misspoke, but yeah,
I,
that's
I like how you misspoke. It got me thinking. There's an article in there. Um, at least one more quick question, and it's kind of a big one. And I don't know if you have a story, but I'm curious because you've been part of different organizations and you've been part of different movements. Can you think of a story where you or a group initiated a change effort and it either went well and hit a home run, or maybe it didn't go so well? I mean, I've done this kind of thing, and sometimes it goes great, and sometimes it falls apart, and sometimes. Do you have any example, Perry, that you can share without getting anybody fired, or that might be great for our listeners to hear about change efforts?
yeah. So I will say this, and this is really important. So
Yeah.
if you're on this podcast and you're listening in, I want you to really pay attention to this, is the word change. People don't like change.
No.
So the word that we have started to use is enhancement. If
Oh,
you can find a way to enhance what's already being
oh, I
done,
love it, Barry.
you can be able to
Oh,
have more success in your efforts. So, an example for you, Tom, that we have actually done in the past, over the last year, we're actually still in our process of change.
yeah.
Our, and I will say enhancement because it is more of an enhancement.
Uh-huh.
But this particular scenario, we actually had all of our safety documentation in paper. We had a book, and this book was on every crew, and this book had tabs for every day of the week, and every day of the week had forms that they had to fill out. That included the pre-task plan, which is called the job hazard analysis.
Yeah.
We had our excavation permit, we had our hot work permit, we had our confined space permit. We had all of our documentation that we needed for each day.
Hmm.
And that was a lot of work for them to write down all this information. And we were doing that up until about a year ago.
Hmm.
And here we are a year later. We started an effort to transition all of these documents onto an electronic format.
Oh, God,
So this
that's a
has
big
been,
enhancement.
it's big. It's a really big enhancement. It's been great. We've had really a lot of success with this. It's been really good to see how several of these guys have really taken to it, including some of the seasoned guys. We weren't expecting to have such buy-in from the seasoned guys, but it's
Hmm.
been great. So that's definitely one of the biggest hurdles that we've had in a
How did
long,
you
long
get
time.
that tight? Was it just that one word change? There had to be more to that, Perry. How did you pull this off? This does
Well,
not usually go that well.
when you really think about it, it had to come from some sort of dollar value in order to make it make sense. You
Uh-huh.
had to see dollars and cents
Yeah,
to see that
it's worth
how
it.
much money we were spending on printing paper
Hmm.
really was the kicker. So once we figured
Wow.
out the cost benefit analysis
Wow.
of of that whole process, we learned that it's actually less expensive, just straight up the cost of printing versus the cost of the software.
Wow.
It was, a huge savings. So we got that plus the savings that we haven't really realized, which is the indirect costs that we've saved on everybody's time and everything involved with the printing process. So there's been a lot of savings that we haven't quite realized on black and white paper, but or black and white documentation, if you will. But but no, it's been a huge effort, but it's been something we've seen a lot of good things come out of that so far. So we're still
I
in the
love it.
transition process, but it's
I
been good.
love it. it's not exactly sexy, but so much of safety is not sexy. And if that new way of doing things digitally saves money and creates more efficiencies, then people are
Mhm.
safer. They have more energy to give to other things. So I really hope that works. That sounds like an interesting enhancement you guys have got going there. And I know that is not easy. I know companies that would tell the story you're telling, but they'll say that it didn't go well. Guys aren't really doing it. The old guard is sick. They're some guys are sick of it. They want to quit early because of it. Like I've heard those stories. So kudos to you guys for making that one happen. Are you guys employee owned? Is that why they bought into the price thing? I'm
I'm
forgetting.
not sure that's exactly why, but yes, we are employee owned, or there's at least a select few folks that are employee owned. Yeah, that are
Sure.
own the company. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Well, I'm about up with my questions, Perry. Did we get enough to your think inside the box? Or is there any final thought that you have about this year, either what you're excited about or it challenges? Any final thoughts that you have here?
Well, so I guess looking at this, we've got a whole year ahead of us. We've
Mm-hmm.
got we've got a lot of opportunity to enhance some things. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of good things coming. I think we'll see how this year goes, but I'm excited for a couple things. Of course, think inside the box. That's a huge thing that's been fairly successful over the last few years, and we're excited to see that grow some more. Also, I got accepted to speak at the National ASSP Professional Development
I
Conference.
saw that. Very
So
nice.
getting excited to speak there in July.
Congratulations. Yeah, when is that happening?
So I'll be speaking in July. So the conference is the 22nd through the 24th of
Uh-huh.
July. I believe my talk will be on the 24th,
Yeah.
and I'll be speaking on trend analysis. I'll be
Really?
speaking on how there's a trend that people tend to get injured at 10 a.m. and
Oh yeah.
2 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 and
So
2,
we're
like
gonna,
the driving thing.
mm-hmm.
Why are they
Yep.
getting injured at 10 and 2?
Oh man, you're gonna have to come to my talk and learn all about it, Tom.
I love it. I wanted
Yeah,
a quick answer. I better get what city does that one in this year?
that's in Orlando, so it'll be nice and warm down there in
Orlando,
July.
be nice and warm. Yes, I'd like to go down there now, Perry. Um, all right, this has been really fun, Perry. I appreciate sitting down with you, having a chance to do this. And unless there's a last thought, I want to thank you very much for taking your time. Thanks to BT Construction and the good people there, of which I know several of them. And I absolutely agree. First class people, first class organization. You guys look up BT Construction, look up Perry Silvey, follow him, follow his Inside the Box, and go to the ASSP event in Orlando and bake your buns. Thanks, Perry.
Thanks a lot, Tom.